worlders, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and it is time to officially have my first wheel of TBR for 2021. So, like a lot of people on BookTube, I did take some time in December to think about my wheel and think about if there were any rules that I wanted to change. And then I started watching a lot of other people's TBR games, and it felt like everyone was like updating and sprucing up their wheel or their game board or whatever they use, which got me all in my head that I needed to do that. So then I took all of my circles off and was gonna remake all of them, and then I was like, actually I like the way they look. I don't think my handwriting looks that bad or anything like that. So I decided to keep all of them, but I couldn't remember what goes on what circle. So I am gonna have to refill in the different triangles, but I might just do that really quickly and just leave one space blank. Hold on. I just want to show. Shake, 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 shake. So, did re-update my ones minus what would be the replacement for today. Sorry, I don't know why I took them off. I don't know, I was having like FOMO or something. I don't know. But I do want to just go over my rules in case you are just like looking for new TBR games and you don't know me. So I play Wheel of TBR based very, very heavily on Cody's Book Corner's TBR game. It's pretty much the same premise, but I have some of my own individual rules. Number one being that I spin 4 times for physical books, and then I do 1 spin, which would be an audio book, but I don't determine them until I actually put my TBR together, meaning I'm never gonna like spin and be like, this is my audiobook spin. I'll just like look at what I have on my TBR that I want to be an audiobook, and I will use it like that. My second rule is that if I do not complete one of my books on my list, I will use a red circle prompt, which I made for starting this month. And red circle prompts are just prompts that are a little harder or a little intimidating, more intimidating, like out of your comfort zone is in here, big book, second chance book, those kind of things. That was heavily inspired by current chapters M&M thing, to the point that I literally made them the same color because I didn't know what color to do. And they'll just end up on here, and if I don't spin the red the month that like I didn't read, but that's fine, like it works out. At one point there's a chance that like all 12, I think 12, no, all 10 triangles will have red, and that's okay. Although I do need more red prompts, so if you have any harder challenges to fulfill, let me know. And did I forget anything? I don't think I forgot anything about my rules. Oh, my final rule. So, like, let's say I put something on this yellow triangle. This is the one that's blank right now. If my first spin brings me back to this yellow triangle, I have to spin again. If it then brings me back here for a second time, I'll do whatever that prompt is, but it can't be the brand new prompt as the next prompt, if that makes sense. Maybe it will happen in this video and you guys will get a sense of what I mean. Maybe it won't. But before we really get into it, I wanted to go over what I was supposed to read in December. So for a sequel, I used 9 Days and 9 Nights by Katie Contugo, and I did read this book. For a reread, I had Simon vs. the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Alberti. I did not read this, but I am making one more rule that rereads do not count for yellow circles. For Treat Yourself, I chose to buy a copy of Escaping from Houdini. I am currently listening to this on Audible and I have about 9 hours left. Although my rule is that I have to have started it in the month and gotten a good portion through. Even if I don't finish it in the month, doesn't count for a red square, so that one's fine. And then The Summer Bed, I read about 15 pages of this and it was not what I thought it was. I can't even remember what the prompt was. Oh, it was blurbed by Nicola Yoon. I am going to give myself a red circle for this one because I don't feel like I gave it a fair shot, but I did like not finish it this month, and I probably won't read it for a while because it's not at all what I thought it was gonna be. So I am gonna give myself one red circle, and I really just want to put a red circle up there. So from my red circles, I got a second chance book. So what a second chance book is a book that I have soft DNF'd, a book that I was not sure, or I wasn't feeling it at the time, but I did not want to completely DNF it. Okay, time for spin number 1. Alright, it doesn't look yellow from what I can tell. A retelling. So the first spin is for a retelling. So the first thing I spun was a retelling, which worked out perfect for me because I am planning on taking part in Kayla from Books and Lala's year-round Buzzwordathon reading challenge, readathon, whatever you want to call it. And for January, the word is dream. And before doing this video, I went through my own TBR, looked to see if I had any books that had dream in the title. I didn't. And then I went on to my Goodreads TBR and I found 3 books that had the word dream in the title, and one does happen to be a retelling. I am not gonna buy it because at one point I owned it and I lost it. So I had started it, but I just never finished it. So I am gonna use it as my audio book spin, but it is Once Upon a Dream by Brasher, I think. This is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. Actually, let me grab my phone because I like to read synopsises. I'm sorry. I think I gave you the wrong author. I gave you the author of The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. It is actually by Liz Braswell. It is technically the 3rd one, but from what I understand, you don't need to read them in order, especially because as they go on, it's different authors. But here, I'm gonna read the synopsis to you guys. A dragon defeated a slumbering maiden, a prince poised to wake her up. But when said prince falls asleep as soon as his lips meet the princess, says, it is clear that this fairy tale is far from over. With this fairy's curse infiltrating her mind, Princess Aurora will have to navigate a dangerous and magical landscape deep in depths of her dreams. Soon she stumbles upon Philip, a charming prince eager to join her quest. But with Maleficent's agents following her every move, Aurora struggles to discover who her true allies are, and moreover who she truly is. Time is running out. Will Sleeping Beauty be able to wake herself up? So, this sounds much more like a feminist story than the original Sleeping Beauty is, which I'm kind of here for. Sleeping Beauty is one of my all-time favorite Disney princesses. It's like Tiana, Belle, her, mainly because I love her name. And my mom told me once that like Aurora was one of the names that my parents had on their list to name me, so that seems pretty cool. And if you guys don't know, I'm a huge Disney fan. I'm very intrigued by this, but this will definitely be my audio book pick for the month. That doesn't mean that I won't read any of the other ones in audio, but I will definitely be reading Once Upon a Dream by Liz Braswell for my audio pick this month. I chose Phone a Friend to replace that circle. What this circle means is that I will reach out to one of my reading friends, send them the link to my own TBR, and ask them to pick a book for me to put on my January TBR. All right, moving on to spin number 2. All right, so spin number 2 brought me to a new release. For me, a new release is a book that had to have been published in the last 3 months. So for me, that will be November, December, or January. I think I have an idea. I just have to check the publication date, but I think I know what this book is going to be. So the wheel spun a new release, which, like I said, I think when it spun it, a new release for me is something that has been published in the last 3 months, so November, December, or January. I went through my list, and I do have a handful of books that are being released in January, but actually there's like one book on my top of my TBR that's being released in January, and it is Concrete Roses by Angie Thomas. And although not a lot of details have come out from what I can tell, I do know from reading The Hate You Give that Angie Thomas likes to write big books, and it doesn't come out until mid-January. I don't think that I would be close enough to finishing it in that time. So I decided to look at other newer releases that I had on the top of my TBR, and I did find one that I'm very intrigued by, which is For Better or Cursed, which is the sequel to The Babysitter's Coven. It's by Kate Williams. I read The Babysitter's Coven earlier this year, and it is not my typical type of book. It is a like light fantasy, I think would be the best way to describe it, which is not typically what I read, but I loved it. From the second I read it, I was like, oh my god, I need to read the sequel, especially when I found out there was going to be a sequel. So it's been on my TBR for a while. Plus, I love this cover. If you guys watched or will watch, I don't know what order these are coming out in, my reading survey, I talked about how the first book is one of my favorite covers. I am in love with this cover as well. So I'm very excited to read For Better or Cursed. And to replace the new release circle, I am going to be replacing it with a Goodreads recommendation. What this means is that I will go to my last 5-star book and I will look at what other readers who have given that book or who have enjoyed that book have also enjoyed, and I will pick one of those books to be put on my TBR. Time for spin number, I'll make sure it's the right spot. Time for spin number 3. Okay, so spin number 3 brought me to a one-word title. So a one-word title is pretty self-explanatory. I have to go and find a book that has one word in the title, and that will be added to my TBR. So the wheel spun me a one-word title, and surprisingly, I only have 2 books on my own TBR with a one-word title, and considering I'm buying 2 other books for this TBR, I chose to choose one of the books that are currently on my shelf, and I ended up choosing to read Falling. It's technically called Falling, a love story, but everywhere I've seen it on like Goodreads and stuff, it's just Falling, so I'm counting it as a one word. But it's by Jane Green, who I've never read before, but I know she's a pretty well-known author. And here's the synopsis. For Emma Montagu, the picturesque waterfront town of Westport, Connecticut is a world apart from her upper crust British childhood and her fast-paced, stressful Manhattan life. She can finally follow her passion of creating beautiful spaces when she rents some sort of cottage. I don't know what that word is. I'm gonna put it down here though, so you guys can maybe be smarter than me. Cottage from the local handyman who lives next door. Unlike any man Emma has ever known, Dominic is confident, grounded, and committed to being present for his 6-year-old son. They become friends and slowly much more as Emma finds herself feeling at home in a way she has never before. But just as they start to imagine a life together as a family, fate intervenes in the most shocking of ways. For the first time, Emma has to stay and fight for what she loves, for the truth she discovers about herself, and risking it all. So it sounds good. Like I said, I've never read Jane Green before, but I think my mom said she has and she enjoyed her. I'm looking at the list. I don't even think I know any of these books, but I am very intrigued by this book, so we'll see how I feel about it. Ooh, it is a new prompt. So to replace one-word title, I am replacing it with colorful spine. For me, what this means is it just needs to be a spine that has more colors than just a few. I have a couple of books in mind that would count for a colorful spine, so I almost wouldn't mind spinning that one. So we are on, so it is time for spin number 4. A Goodreads recommendation. So the wheel spun a Goodreads recommendation. As I mentioned in November, I believe, I spun the same thing, and I did go to my last 5-star prediction, which was A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, or my last 5-star rating, which was A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. And that's the one I chose. Because I haven't read another 5-star since then, I decided to go to the one before that, which was Michigan vs. the Boys by Carrie S. Allen, which also happened to be my favorite book of 2020 and a favorite of all time. And I went through the list, and there were 2 books on that list that were on the top of my TBR. So I went through, I looked at them, and I ultimately chose that I would read The How and the Why by Cynthia Han. So actually, Michigan vs. the Boys was recommended not like directly to me, but through Books and Lala's one of her videos. It was one of her favorite books a couple years ago. And she also discussed the how and the why in that video, which I think is so interesting. So I'm very excited to read it. So it says, today, Melly has us writing letters to our babies. Cassandra, I'm not even gonna try to say the last name, has the best parents a girl could ask for. They've given Cass a life she wouldn't trade for the world. She has everything she needs except maybe the one thing she wants, like to know who she is, where she came from, questions her adoptive parents can't answer no matter how much they love her. But 18 years ago, someone wrote Cass a series of letters, and they might just hold the answers Cass has been searching for. Alternating between Cass's search for answers and letters from the pregnant teen who gave her up for adoption, this voice-driven narrative is the perfect read for fans of Nina LaCour and Jandy Nelson. So that is going to be very high up on my list. I do have to order it. It's in my cart on Amazon, and I will be ordering it very soon. All right, and to replace Goodreads Recommendation, I'm going to replace it with character's name, which means that the title has to have a character's name in the title. Okay, and here we go. A colorful spine. All right. So like I said before, a colorful spine is a book that has multiple colors on the spine of the book, and I'm gonna go pick out a book for this. And then the wheel spun a colorful spine, which for me is a book that has to have multiple colors on the side. And as soon as it was spun, I could picture this spine in my mind, and I was like, oh my god, I have to choose this one. Plus, I wanted a light YA contemporary, which none of these other books would be. We got some heavy contemporary, we got some adult romance, we got some fantasy, and we got some like fairy tale retelling. So this is pretty perfect for that. But it is Love, Life in the List by Casey West. I mean, look at that spine. We have red, purple, blue, pink, and like a deep blue plus the yellow font. So it definitely qualifies as a colorful spine. And let's read it. 17-year-old Abby Turner's summer isn't going the way she planned. She has a not-so-secret crush, but definitely unrequited crush on her best friend Cooper. She hasn't been able to manage her mother's growing issues with anxiety, and now she has been rejected from an art show because her work has no heart. So when she gets another opportunity to show her paintings, Abby isn't going to take any chances, which is where the list comes in. Abby gives herself 1 month to do 10 things, ranging from face a fear to learning a stranger's story to fall in love. She knows that if she can't complete the list, she'll become the kind of artist she's always dreamed of being. Abby realizes that getting through the list isn't as straightforward as it seems, and that maybe, just maybe, she can't change her art if she isn't first willing to change herself. So not only does this have a colorful spine, but it is one of my favorite tropes. I love books that have lists. Like, if it's like a list of dares, or the one that comes to mind is the one by Morgan Matson where like the friend leaves for the summer and like leaves her friend a list of like tasks for the summer. I don't know, I love books about lists. I think they're really interesting. So I'm very excited. I love Casey West. Casey West is such an easy read in my mind, so I'm very excited. It's also kind of weird though because all my Casey West books are softcover except for this and like the standalone sequel to this. So I don't know, I'm excited, and I'm excited for reading. So these are my books for the month of January. Oh my god, I almost forgot what month we're in. I only have 2 of them at the start. I'm ordering the new release in the Goodreads recommendation, and then the other one's an audiobook. But I'm very, very excited for this reading month. If you guys have read any of these books, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And let me know what you're reading in the month of January. What are you most excited for? And if you have any prompt ideas, either for the red or the normal circles, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always looking to diversify and get some new ones in there. But yeah, I hope you guys have a very, very happy new year. This should be going up on the 1st, so I hope you guys have a happy, happy, happy 2021. I hope that this month, or this year, is a little different than 2020. It was a tough year on a lot of us, so I'm hoping everyone has a better 2021, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye, worlders. Ooh, I gotta change my shirt. Hold on. Because I am planning on part 2. It's the second book in the So, let me reread that. Infiltrating, there we go.